Alright. Alright. I think that the time for overlong introductions is over. We just got to get right into this. I need to know what's happening. I need to know what's going on. Things are going down in Hinamizawa. It's going breakneck. We need to just get right into this. So let's just do it. Hang on tight, folks. Yo, we're gonna do club. We're gonna do club, everybody. See, this is gonna be a fun one.
みーちゃんもなんだか寝不足な感じだよ。
あれれ？
寝たの3時くらいだからね。眠い。
3時？おいおい、夜更かしにも限度ってもんがあるぞ。大方、漫画の単行本が面白くなっちゃって1巻から読破してしまったんだろう。俺にも経験があるぞ。
あれ、ひょっとして村長さんのこと？まだ見つかってないの？
I went to the Furude Shrine to join the youth group in their search for the mayor. Since I knew there was no way he would be found, it was really boring for me. Well, just enduring sleepiness wasn't that bad. Not if you considered what Kimiyoshi had to go through since last night. He had been hanging from the ceiling and he couldn't even fall asleep or sit down since he had to stand on tiptoes the whole time. Just fucking left him there! The teacher explained to us that the mayor had gone missing and asked us if we knew anything. A couple of people said some things, but they were irrelevant. To me, this issue meant nothing, but it was all my classmates were talking about. I observed Keiichi Maibara. I had no idea if any type of danger was drawing closer to him. Maybe I'd call him again tonight, pretending to be Shion. I told him some outrageous stuff last night, so he panicked, but I was sure he'd calm down after a day. At that time, I heard a little girl's laughter. It was Rika Furude! Look at her, she's smiling, happy as a button. Look at her go. The last survivor of the Furude family and their current head. However, she wasn't really treated as one. During the family councils, she'd often draw pictures or take a nap in the hag's bed. She wasn't even invited to last night's meeting. It was hard to believe such a little girl was responsible for part of the curse system. However, even though she wasn't in a respected position as a head of the Furude family, there were plenty of old people who worshipped her as the reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama. Yo, you made it this time! Welcome, Jet! Hope you're doing well. I'd heard from someone that Rika Furude was rather odd and seemed to behave as if she knew she was the reincarnation. Maybe Takano-san had told me that in the library when she was alive. When Rika Furude became worried about something, the elderly people who worshipped her would make arrangements. It was very similar to the Sonozaki family, and it was also the same system used for the curse. I wonder, does Rika Furude know anything about the deaths of Takano-san and Tomitake-san? What does she think of people sneaking into the ritual storehouse? Does she know who snuck in, and what happened to those people? Yeah, last night was a trip. There's a lot going on. And I think this episode, this stream here is going to be even more vital for some reason. I just got a feeling. As the one managing the storehouse, it was possible that she noticed the intruders first. In fact, she was the only one who could have noticed it. She must have passed on that information, which was why the curse was executed. That foolish Keiichi turned the light on when we went into the ritual storehouse. That light switch could have been connected to some sort of alarm. Rika Furude, the leader of the Furude family, maybe getting to know her would be a good idea. Yo, we're gonna get to know Rika, everybody.
フルデ家当主として今回の件はどこまで知ってるの？
I asked her rather directly. It was hard to tell if she understood I was asking her in place of the Sonozaki family head instead of me on Sonozaki.
富武たちのことですか?
Rika answered. The news hadn't made public yet. She knew about it. Although she looked immature, perhaps she truly was the head of the Furude family.
お社様のたたりなのですよ。としか言えないのです。
そんなのは分かってるよ。ならまだ終わってないよね。あと2人残っている。その2人はどうなるか 聞いてる？
I tried to be vague to see how Rika Furude would react. I had been thinking that she had nothing to do with the underside of Hinamizawa since she was always treated like a child. However, Rika just said things about the incident which normal people shouldn't know anything about. That proved she belonged to the underside's network.
別にどうでもいいと思いますですよ。
Well, that's a rather hopeless way of putting it. She answered the question about Tomitake-san and Takano-san fairly quickly, but took a little longer to answer this time. Did she have to think about it? Shit, the look on her face never changes. It's impossible to figure out what she's thinking.
どうでもいいってことはないでしょ。それじゃあけじめにならないのは分かってる？
僕はちゃんと反省したならそれでいいと思いますです。
Well, there you go. Her response was unexpected, especially after seeing all the old people get so furious last night. To trespass in the ritual storehouse was blasphemy against Oyashiro-sama. The village elders had said those intruders deserved to die. The village elders had said those intruders deserved to die, yet the leader of the Furude family, who protected the sacred storehouse for ritual implements, said that if they felt remorse for it, then it was fine. I recalled how people thought of Rika Furude's father during the dam conflict. Yes, her father was called an opportunist back then. He didn't agree with the Onikafuchi guardians who had resisted violently during the conflict, like father, like daughter. I aggressively grabbed Rika Furude by the collar. Oh, this escalated.
はあ？
Oh dear.
何をひよったことを言ってんだか。古出家は先代もあんたもつくづく甘ったるいね。あんたたち古出家が西宮殿がいかに神聖で不可侵な聖域か一番理解してなくちゃならないんだよ。その古出家の仮にも当主が何を甘ったるいことを言ってるわけ。
I laughed at myself. I was told the same thing by someone else and was just now saying it to
西宮
Rika.
殿を犯した罪がどれほどの大罪か理解してないわけじゃないんでしょ。
西宮殿はお社様の大切な場所なのです。勝手に入ったりとかしちゃダメなとこなのです。
分かってるじゃない。そこに汚れを持ち込んだんだよ、あの4人は。
悪い猫さんなのです。にゃー。
そうだね、悪い猫だ。2匹は捕まえてお仕置きした。あと2匹いる。
にゃ
ー。どうけじめをつけるべきだろうね。古出家当主のご意見を聞かせてよ。
Rika really didn't usually wear any expression whatsoever, making it impossible to tell what she was thinking. But while I grabbed her by her collar and stared at her, I could tell somehow. Rika was a little disturbed. I sensed she was trying to see what I was thinking in turn.
僕は2匹の猫さんは許してあげたいです。
それでけじめになると思ってんの？
みー、けじめって言葉が僕にはよくわからないです。
ああ、いい質問だね。じゃあお勉強しよう。けじめってのはね、罪をあがなうってことなの。罪は残せない。お社様のお怒りを放置することになるんだからね。だから罪の大きさに比例したけじめで罪を清めなければならない。わかるよね？
お社様は別に西宮殿を見られても怒らないのですよ。
はあ？あんた何言ってんの？
あの中を見ちゃダメなのはあの中に怖い道具がいっぱいあるからなのです。見るときっと怖がる人もいると思いますのです。だから誰にも見せないようにしてあるのですよ。見た人もきっと怖かったと思います。だから反省してると思いますのです。
反省してるから許されるって。あんたが決めることじゃないでしょ。それはお社様が決めること。
僕はお社様の巫女ですよ。
そんなことは知ってるよ。じゃあ何さ、あんたはお社様に怒ってませんよって直接声を聞いて確認したとでも言うわけ。
Rika nodded yes without hesitation. I can't believe the lies she's coming up with. I'm not surprised. I'm shocked.
あんた ら古出家がそんなざまだから、あんたの両親は一昨年のたたりで死んじゃったんだよ。お社様に仕える資格がないとお怒りを受けてね。それであんたの父親をたたり殺したんだよ。
お社様はそんなことしないのです。お父様はお社様のたたりで死んだんじゃないのです。
That was a good sound there.
こんなのが最後の古出家の巫女だとはね。お社様が心を安らかにできないのがよくわかるよ。お社様をお祭りする古出家の人間でありながら嘆かわしい。
ミーが何を怒っているのか僕にはよくわからないのですよ。
I realized she was in a position to know as much as the other two family heads. As proof, she talked about this year's incidents as though it was nothing, yet she could feign ignorance with a serious face. She sure is something. She's even better than me. I slapped her a few times and pushed her to the floor. Rika, having tumbled downward, looked up at me with tears in her
そも
eyes.
そもあんたが西宮殿の鍵が重いから簡単なものに付け替えたいって言い出したのが事の発端なんだよね。
Shion really has a thing for beating up kids. Like, she's real proficient at it.
そうですよ。硬くて僕では大変だったので君吉に相談して簡単な鍵に付け替えてもらったのです。
あんたがその程度の手間を惜しまず頑丈な世情をそのまま残していたなら西宮殿への侵入を許さなかったかもしれない。今回の一件はあんたそれを忘れない方がいいよ。もちろんあんたと一緒に鍵を付け替えた君吉家当主にも責任があるんだけどね。
Yeah, like it's like almost a weird fetish at this point. Like, I'm gonna dress up as my twin sister that everybody likes and beat the shit out of children. Woo! The last part was something I added on a whim. I added it to connect Rika's story to the disappearance of Kimiyoshi. I wanted to pressure her psychologically by
君
doing
吉家
so.
当主はけじめをつけてもらうことになった。だから消えた。古出家当主にもけじめをつけてもらうことになるよ。
Rika was still on the floor, tears pouring
あと
down
残
her
ってるのは
cheeks.
前原圭一だけ。こいつは古出家の方で頼むことにする。
僕は何もわかんないのですよ。
別にあんたは分かんなくてもいいでしょ。憂慮したり困った顔をするだけでいいんだから。それはうちも同じ。とにかく頼んどくよ。
そんなの。
Rika hung her head. She seemed to want to say something, but she was afraid that I might be rough with her again. I doubted Rika Ferretti was actually at the top of the curse system like the hag was. However, as one of the three family heads, she was a lot closer to the underside of Hinamizawa than I was. By now, the underside was well aware of Keiichi Maebara. I told the elderly leaders of the village yesterday at the meeting that Keiichi Maebara was the last one remaining. I just told the head of the Furude family the same thing, if threateningly. If my threat was effective, the curse of Oyashiro-sama would very soon fall upon Keiichi Maebara. And at just the right time, I would grab my enemy right as he took my bait. If the assassination came from the Furude family, this girl would have committed the same sin as the hag. When the time came, I wouldn't hold back. I was going to make sure she suffered and then kill her. I've heard of a torture technique where you pound dozens of nails into a victim's fingers. I already found a restraining table and the tools for it. When the time comes, I'll pound nails into your fingers. That gruesome anticipation radiated from my eyes and scared Rika even further. I wonder how Kimiyoshi is doing. Hey, we're gonna check on our good pal Kimiyoshi, everybody. How you doing, Uncle Kimiyoshi? You doing okay in here? You holding up? How you doing? How we doing? I doubt he died from tiptoeing all night, but sometimes a human can go very easily. He already told me everything I wanted to hear, and he doesn't know anything else anyway. On top of that, he was responsible for spreading the infection that was the curse of the system of Oyashiro-sama. His sins are very heavy. I really liked Uncle Kimiyoshi. He had always been kind. The hag was so rough on our relatives, and that's why he was extra nice to me. She does. She's got so many playmates. When we talked yesterday, I was so happy to hear him say that he would forgive Shion. He even said he would fight the hag to save her. That made me very happy. Don't worry. If Shion-chan feels bad about what she's done, she won't be demoned away. Leave it to me. I felt such warmth inside of me. I almost shivered. I was so happy, yet so very sad, for he continued to say that Satoshi-kun deserved to die. He said those nice things because he wanted to make me unhappy, since she was worried about Shion. Satoshi-kun deserved to die because he was a member of the cursed Hojo family. But Shion-chan and the Shion-chan of the Sonozaki family did not. That's what he meant. In other words, to the leaders of the village, including Kimiyoshi, members of the Hojo family are more contemptible than insects. They didn't care if they lived or died. Their sin was not only that they despised the Hojo family, but they also let their hatred infect the rest of the village. Therefore, everyone in the village deserves to be a victim of the curse of Oyashiro-sama. Kimiyoshi and the others created an environment that excused murder in that name. Man, that well's gonna get super full if we're gonna just fucking curse everybody. Holy Jesus! Is this girl gonna just bring everybody to the playhouse? If that was so, if Takada-san and Tomitaki-san hadn't committed the serious crime of trespassing in the ritual storehouse, when Satoko Hojo... Hey, check it out. Teppei has a graphic now, by the way. Then Satoko Hojo, the last survivor of the Hojo family, and Teppei Hojo, who had been hiding in Okinomiya, might have been the victims. Let's have a look at Teppei. Let's see if he's got sprites. Check it out. He's gross. We hate him. Oh, God. He's even more gross. His potato graphic version is the worst. I hate it. Satoko Hojo, she was always around Satoshi-kun. She expected Satoshi-kun to help her every time she cried. She was one of the people who cornered him. If Satoko wasn't that much of a burden, Satoshi-kun wouldn't have killed his aunt. Somebody told Satoshi-kun to commit that murder, and to hide the evidence of his connection to the mastermind, Satoshi-kun was demoned away. That's what Oishi thought. If Satoshi-kun hadn't killed the aunt, maybe he would have been chosen as last year's victim. Because the commands were vague, after all, the curse of Oyashiro-sama fell upon the Hojo family as a whole. It didn't matter which member of the family died. His aunt had a terrible reputation in the neighborhood. She didn't communicate with her neighbors, she was always throwing fits, and there was nothing nice about her in any way. Even if Satoshi-kun didn't kill her, the curse would have fallen upon her sooner or later. Their aunt was the first victim. There needed to be another Hojo to calm the curse. According to the rumor, their uncle was living somewhere in Okinomiya with his lover. However, Okinomiya was a little different than Hinamizawa. The Sonozaki family was powerful there as well, of course, but it would have been more difficult in Okinomiya to demon someone away. So naturally, Satoshi-kun and Satoko, who were still in Hinamizawa, became the targets. Which one should be cursed? That was simple. Satoko, of course. She was snobby and lacking in manners. Everyone in the neighborhood liked Satoshi-kun, even if he was the son of the Hojo couple who betrayed the village during the damn conflict. Compared to Satoko, he didn't deserve to die. She's really good at weighing out the logistics here, I think. Therefore, the actual victims of last year's curse should have been his aunt and Satoko. Satoshi-kun was suddenly all alone. His mean aunt and mean uncle were gone. His sister, who was a burden to him and all his life, was gone too. Satoshi-kun was a nice person. He'd be sad, although he'd realize he was finally free, but time would heal him. I'd even help. He didn't have to live in his house in Hinamizawa. There were plenty of empty rooms in the apartment block where I lived. I could find him a part-time job, too. He didn't need to go to school in Hinamizawa. He could go to school with me in Okinomiya instead. He wouldn't know his way around or really anything about the school there, so I'd be with Satoshi-kun all the time. I'd show him a shortcut to school, we'd go shopping, I'd teach him many different things. What an unbelievably happy ending. Yeah, like she is literally, she is in the menus, hitting them hard right now, configuring those materia combinations, configuring those orbments. She's got everything locked down right now. Satoshi-kun had been suffering so much, and I had been pushed away all my life. But we would finally be happy. I enjoyed these sweet delusions, but I didn't have any more time to waste. I was sure there were plenty of old people who had been trying to get a hold of Odio all morning and were going to try and catch me after I got home from school. Actually, the phone had been ringing constantly while I enjoyed my happy thoughts. When I answered the phone, I casually listened and replied. As I planned, Keiichi Maebara is now known as the next curse victim within the underside of Hinamizawa. I also tried to let them know that the disappearance of the village chief had something to do with the fact that he had changed the lock on the ritual storehouse's door. All the authorities in the underside came to realize the seriousness of trespassing in the storehouse. After all, one of the heads of the three families got punished. One of the phone calls was from Oishi. He had also heard about Kimiyoshi's disappearance, and he knew it had something to do with the changing of the lock. I'm impressed. He has some pretty good sources, but all he can do is catch whatever information he can get. There's no way for him to find out where it's coming from. I'd call Keiichi Maebara again later tonight. Some of the more aggressive villagers may have already started to take action around him. I'm sure that by now Keiichi is feeling a danger that's coming toward him. I'd have to be careful that he doesn't get killed easily. If I can catch the enemy before they bit Keiichi, I can use him as bait. Keiichi Maebara. I haven't known him for that long. He's funny, if not intelligent. He'll never replace Satoshi-kun, but I do think he's fun to be around. There's just one thing I don't like about him. He rubs my head far too often. His hand is as warm as Satoshi-kun's hand, which is why I can't stand it. But that's about it. Keiichi Maebara isn't Satoshi-kun's enemy. I don't hate him. He's fun to be around, but I wouldn't shed a tear for him if he became the victim of the curse. This girl is cold-blooded. I won't prevent Keiichi Maebara from being killed, but I won't kill him myself either. I'd make arrangements for the curse to fall upon him, and I'd never told anyone to kill him. Well, I suppose I did tell Rika Furude to take care of Keiichi Maebara. Wait a minute. To avenge Satoshi-kun, I'm doing exactly the same thing as the hag did. I'm using the exact same system that killed Satoshi-kun. Keiichi Maebara, I'm just using him. I told people to let the curse fall upon Keiichi, but I've been giving him appropriate warnings. I'm going to help him if he tries to live. If I catch all of my enemies, maybe I'll let him loose. He's different from Satoshi-kun. Satoshi-kun was tricked into killing his aunt, and was killed himself afterwards so that there wouldn't be any evidence remaining. I won't kill Keiichi Maebara. That's how I'm different from the hag. She's got the moral high ground here, guys. I think we can all agree Shion's got the moral high ground here. Evening was turning to night. I had to get dinner ready. I had to eat so I'd have enough strength to take revenge. This place was far from a town. I wouldn't even get isolated during winter because of the snow. It's not unusual for a household like this to have 2 or 3 refrigerators. There was plenty of groceries left in them. I was glad I didn't have to go grocery shopping. I could hear the chorus of the Higurashi. People often say the sound of the Higurashi brings back memories, but for me, it's the exact opposite. I've only ever heard the sound of Higurashi in Hinamizawa. Therefore, the sound of the Higurashi to me is Hinamizawa. The sound reminded me that I wasn't supposed to be here, that I couldn't be here. That was when I heard the doorbell. Because there was a good distance between the house and the gate, there was both a doorbell and an intercom by the It had a security camera too. Something as modern as a security camera monitor in this old-fashioned kitchen looked rather strange. I turned the switch, but nothing appeared on the monitor. I tried to check the plug, but there was a bunch of cords hanging behind the refrigerator, so I couldn't even do that. The doorbell continued to ring while I tried to figure out if the monitor was broken or if we just didn't know how to turn it on. I only felt like answering the door depending on who it was. It'd normally be easier to pretend to be out. but that wouldn't help me. I was waiting for my enemies to show up. I couldn't just hide myself in that case. The hag was supposed to be sick and in an extremely bad mood. I'd already sent word out that she didn't want to see anyone, so who could it be? I made up my mind and turned the intercom on. If it was someone unwanted, I could just turn whoever it was away, but I had to act normally so I wouldn't arouse suspicion. I had to act normally.
はい。
Who's at the door? I want to see some guesses in chat. Who's at the door? Rika. Okay. All right.
どちら様でしょ
Who
う
is it?
こんにちはなのです。
Wow, y'all are good. She didn't tell me your name, but I recognized her voice.
リカちゃんか。
She can't see. Yeah, she can't see on the monitor because she's so small.
どうしたのこんな時間に。
実はお醤油を分けてもらいに来たのですよ。
We're out of soy sauce. Dang, I hate it when that happens. Soy sauce? I almost screamed, but I controlled myself. I took a moment to think about the situation. Higurashi was far from most stores, so sometimes neighbors would share seasoning and stuff with each other. The village sometimes got snowed in during winter. The Furude shrine was quite far from this house. It was rather odd for her to come all the way here on her bicycle just to get some soy sauce. Maybe she was using it as an excuse. Maybe there was something she wanted to talk to me about. That was when I noticed a piece of paper that was on the refrigerator door next to the intercom. We still have plenty of homemade soy sauce in stock. Feel free to come to the Sonozaki house if you want some. The hag must have given the flyer to everyone. One of our relatives sent her a barrel of soy sauce. If you want some, bring a container. That's what the flyer said. I see. This would explain it. There was a handwritten note at the bottom of the flyer. The soy sauce is in the storage area under the floor. Give them as much as they want. There was a storage area beneath the floor. When I opened it, I saw a barrel of soy sauce along with a funnel and a ladle. I didn't want Rika to notice anything suspicious at this point. I decided to share the soy sauce with her.
うんいいよ。
We got soy sauce, everybody! Soy sauce party with Rika! Who's ready for a soy sauce party with Rika?
入れるものは持ってきてるの
お醤油の瓶を持ってきましたのです。
オッケー。勝手に入ってきていいよ。玄関で待ってる。
As I headed there, I heard the doorbell ring again.
内側から閉まってて門が入れないのですよ。
ああ、そうだった。ごめんごめん。今開けに行くよ。待ってて。
People didn't pay much attention to safety around here in Hinamizawa. People didn't think too much about locking the doors, but as someone who's lived in a town, I've always locked everything. Also, people might find out that I'm murdering people if I just kind of let them in casually, or they decide to come in and, the doors are unlocked. To let Rika Fruity in, I'd have to go outside.
こんばんはなのですよ。
Konbanwa to you as well.
こんばんは。
Rika smiled at me. She was holding a huge soy sauce bottle. She acted like I never yelled at her, got violent with her, or made her cry at all today. Or perhaps she came to curry favor, thinking that she'd angered me. I invited Rika to the front door, told her to wait for a moment, then tried to take the bottle. But Rika took her shoes off and walked into the house with the bottle in her hand.
いいよいいよ。私が入れてくるから待ってなよ。
Well, that's just rude. Invite yourself in.
僕も上手でお醤油入れるのは上手になったのですよ。
She got an all-star soy sauce funneler over here, everybody. If you need soy sauce funneled, there's your girl right there. She looked at me as if begging. I guess she wanted to pour the soy sauce into the bottle herself. I didn't want her to come into the house, but I suppose I didn't want her to wait there alone either. If she came to the kitchen with me, I could keep my eyes on her. And so, I brought Rika to the kitchen. We walked down the hallway. I only heard my footsteps. I stopped suddenly and turned around to make sure Rika was following me. Rika bumped into me.
ああ、ごめんごめん。
I made sure she was right behind me and started to walk again. Tap, tap, tap. Tip, tip, tip. Tap, tap. Tip, tip. Rika must have been having fun matching her footsteps with mine. Even when I quickly sped up, her footsteps matched perfectly. Tap tap, tap tap, tip tip, tip tip, tap tap tap. I stopped suddenly. Tip tip tip, tip. Rika stopped suddenly too after taking an extra step. When I turned around, Rika smiled at me. Our footsteps matched perfectly, and when I stopped suddenly, I heard her extra step. Beep. I've experienced such footsteps before, but it was making me feel uncomfortable. But now, although her footsteps sounded the same as the other ones I'd experienced, I saw her when I turned around. But the difference was between them. I left the storage open when I could see the soy sauce barrel. The memo said you could take as much as she wants, but I wasn't sure there was enough left. I crouched down and tried to open the lid of the soy sauce barrel. Even when I crouched down, I could hear Rika's extra step.
まだまだいっぱいあるよ。ほら、好きなだけ持ってくといい。
When I turned around, Rika was very close to me. Hi. Hello. How are you? Are you okay? We good? That's a look you're giving me right now. But, who was this? I saw Rika, but it wasn't Rika at all. It was like when I switched with my sister. The outside was the same, but the inside was different. Did Rika have a twin sister? I was confused for a moment. That was when Rika sprayed something from a small bottle into my eyes. Oh, Jesus! What the fuck? Huh? Oh no! What is going on? I felt a terrible pain in my eyes, and suddenly tears poured out of my nose, and my nose started to run. I couldn't stop sneezing either. As I stumbled around, covering my face, I then realized I was attacked. I shut my eyes tightly for a moment, then opened them again. Rika was about to grab my hair and drag me down to the floor. When Rika saw me open my eyes, she sprayed at me again. I shut my eyes to avoid the spray, but my nose still breathed in the substance. I avoided the pain in my eyes, but the tears and runny nose and the sneezing continued. Shit! My brain wasn't working quickly enough. However, when I finally understood that I'd been attacked by Rika Furude, my brain started to grind into motion. Like, this girl was like, I am 100% ready for whoever wants to come fuck with me, and you get blindsided by the little girl! Rika Furude knocked me onto my back and got on top of me. I tried to escape from her by rolling on the kitchen floor. As I rolled, I hit an oven, a huge jar, and destroyed a pile of something on the floor as I fought back. But Rika didn't let go of me. She stayed on top and restrained me. She was sitting on my stomach and I felt intense pain and pressure. She sure could fight well. I still couldn't see anything. Rika had the upper hand. My eyes were shut and I was in real danger. As I tried to blink, I saw Rika's expression. I didn't know Rika Furude all that well. I only knew her from the few times we met when I went to school as Neon and from the things I'd heard from her from other people. But as far as I knew, there was no way Rika Furude would ever do something like this. This is just impossible, impossible, impossible. An unexpected addition to the well tonight. No, I can't fill my head with the thing. Hold on, I didn't catch that line there. No, I can't fill my head with that word. I have to calm down and figure out what to do next. Shit, I'm too much of a mess to even think. I tried to peek at her face again. She still had the spray bottle in one hand. What I didn't expect was the thing in the other hand. How could I mistake it for anything else? It was definitely a syringe. When Rika realized I'd regained my eyesight, she pointed the spray bottle right at me and let loose with it. I shut my eyes tightly and tried to ignore the pain, but that was when, even though I was blinded, Rika made a miscalculation. She had sprayed at me from such a close distance that she inhaled some of the substance as well. I heard Rika sneeze and realized that this was my chance. Even if I couldn't see, I knew she was right there. I hit Rika's face a few times. When I felt Rika's weight shift, I escaped. Oh shit! Yo, check it. Yo, we going now. We fucking going! Let's go on, Taxes. You are just in time. We are about to fucking go. Then I got my stun gun ready. Rika must have inhaled just a little of the spray. She wasn't sneezing anymore and was glaring at me instead.
上等切ってくれんじゃないの。
I think she's more than picked to fight at this point. Dear Shion.
ぶちまけられていか。
Oh, she gonna wreck it now. She gonna wreck this bitch! Rika's expression didn't change, but I was sure she was disappointed that her surprise attack was a failure. Rika flinched just a little, and when she was still holding the spray bottle and aiming it at my eyes, she was trying to use the spray first and then give me the shot. I didn't know what was in that syringe, but it was clear liquid. It had to be something bad. She wanted to take my eyesight, get on top of me, and then give me the shot. If whatever was in the syringe took a while to take effect, I might have the chance to fight back and seriously injure Rika. But Rika's surprise attack told me that just being injected was more than enough. In other words, whatever the effect, it would start to work immediately. Therefore, I wouldn't be able to fight back against her. It'd probably either knock me out or kill me. In any case, what I had was equally deadly. My stun gun was very powerful. Just one shot was all it took. What happened before was proof of its power. Rika knew my stun gun was a lot more powerful than her spray. She was being extremely
ほら
cautious.
ほら。いつまで人ん家に上がり込んでボサッとしてくれてるわけさ。
This is a very rude way to treat somebody who just wanted to give you soy sauce.
そっちから来ないんだら、こっちから行くぞこら。
I threw a pile of newspapers at her. The pile wasn't tied together, so the newspapers flew all over Rika. I jumped at her immediately after. I shoved my gun into her and pulled the trigger. Rika spasmed and fell to the floor. You fool. Hesitating in a fight where a single blow wins. Only amateurs just glare at each other. You don't have a single clue about how advantageous the first strike is when a single blow can decide everything. I didn't want low sodium! The spray bottle rolled to the ground, but she still had the syringe. Rika was down, but I couldn't let my guard down either. I kicked her in the side and clambered on top of her. I took the syringe. I held Rika's arm down and gave her the shot. My actions could hardly be called gentle. I injected her violently. I injected everything that was in the syringe. Rika began to convulse. I stood back and watched for what would happen to her body. Of course, I still had my guard up. While I assumed the drug would incapacitate her immediately, I didn't know exactly what kind of reaction she would have.
はっ、ざまあないね。私に勝てるとか夢にでも思った。なめんじゃねえや。
After a few more convulsions, Rika unsteadily got to her feet. That's ridiculous. How could she even stand? I looked at my stun gun. Damn it, the power was on the lowest setting. Maybe it had been readjusted when we were rolling around on the floor. I changed the setting to maximum. Rika turned pale and started sweating all over. I didn't know its exact effects, but if Rika had given me the shot, I'd be the one experiencing her symptoms. She looked really sick, so obviously she must have been feeling awful too. She couldn't even focus. She was very wobbly and had her hand on the wall. She'd lost her balance, and it must have been hard for her to even stand. She didn't look so brave anymore. Rika wobbled more and moaned as if she was about to throw up. Rika looked scary as she moaned and wobbled, but at that point in time, she looked kind of funny too. Certainly she hadn't even dreamed she'd been getting the shot herself. As the man sows, so he shall reap. That's what you get.
実に滑稽だね。笑えるよ。目が回ってるのかな。それとも息ができない
Yeah,
の
go
か
to
な。
the bathroom if you're gonna puke. Come on, that's just straight up rude. You come into my house, you fucking mace me, and now you want to puke on my floor. Really fucking entitled right now, Rika. I swear.
あんたがあとどのくらいでくたばるのか見物するのも楽しいよ。ああ、でもそれじゃ拷問する楽しみがなくなるね。私さ、あんたにはあの組台を使ってやろうとずっと心に決めてたんだよね。
I got plans for you.
あんたが自分の薬で死ぬのが早いか、両手樹脂に釘をたらふく食らって痛みでいくのが早いか、ぜひ見てみたいもんだね。よし決めた。 そうしようかね。んじゃ会場を移そうか。楽しい地下細具殿だね。場所を移すためにちょいと眠っててもらう。
I walk up to Rika, my stun gun making popping sounds. When Rika saw the sparks from the stun gun, she moved to grab a huge kitchen knife.
おや、まだその程度の元気はあるわ
Oh,
ね。
she's not done.
そうでなくちゃ面白くない。あんたにはいろいろ聞きたいことがあるしね。無駄に抵抗しない方がいろいろと辛くないよ。もっとも抵抗しなくても辛い目に遭うだろうけど。
残念だけど、あんたの誘いは断るわ。この冷血女が。
What she said wasn't anything I'd expect to hear from the Rika I knew. But I didn't hesitate. I had the advantage, so I didn't need to worry. Besides, this was coming from the last survivor of the Furude family, one of the 3 families. That sudden change somehow felt natural.
あんたらの御三家の血塗られた歴史に比べたら、私なんてとても。それを古出家当主様に褒めてもらえるなんてね、ちょっと光栄だね。で、そのフラフラな体で包丁一本で抵抗してみせよ。立っているだけでも限界なくせに。
そうね。あんたの言う通り、これがどうも私の限界。お前なんかに召し取られて殺されるくらいなら。悪いけど、お先に退場させてもらうわ。
退場できるならしてごらんよ。
It was clear who held the advantage here, but despite that, an odd thrill filled both of us. We lost our minds wasn't a fitting phrase for people in Hinamizawa. It was a feeling of release when modern demons could stop pretending to be human. Yes, this was a mad banquet of demons with the savoring of blood and devouring of flesh, attended by the head of the Furude family and the head of the Sonozaku family, the old families whose blood is closest to the madness of the demons. That is some incredible fucking prose right there. I really like that. That whole little run of dialogue there is real good. I stood in front of the hallway as to block her escape route. The windows had grates, so the door had a safety chain on it. If she turned around, I'd hit her with my stun gun. In this situation, what did Rika Furude mean by taking her leave? Rika got her knife ready. I expected her to aim at my stomach when she attacked, so I took a stance with my stun gun ready in my hand. Rika, however, suddenly turned around. I carefully watched to see what her next move would be. Rika put the handle of the knife to the wall and held it in place. What was she doing?
じゃあね。さよなら、冷血女。お前なんかに殺されてたまるか。
Rika reared her head back and slammed her throat against the knife on the wall. Oh! Her blood splattered all over. Rika bent backwards repeatedly and let the knife slash at her throat, again and again. Her neck and chest were dyed red. I'd always thought the blood was darker, but her blood wasn't dark. It was so bright. It must have been confused, but it looked so pretty. After doing this several times, Rika turned around. Her eyes were wide open. She didn't look like she was from this world. Her face looked like something both living and dead, both real and artificial. It was very scary, eerie, and also a bit pale. Although her face looked unhealthy, it was a very appropriate face for a demon. I didn't have a mirror, so I couldn't tell, but I was sure I looked exactly like her. Rika continued to violently slash at her throat. It reminded me of someone trying to break a huge piece of ice with an ice pick. That was exactly what Rika looked like. The white chips of ice coolly flying through the air. What I saw before me was a beautiful sight. Every time Rika struck her throat, tiny drops of red blood splattered across the boring white world around her. It was like a dance, a dedication dance to the final head of the Furude family. The demon's last dance of dedication to Oyashiro-sama. Upon seeing that literally blood-curdling dance, I let out a fierce roar. I had no reason to do so. I was howling like an animal. We were like animals trying to kill each other, both getting covered in blood, and inevitably, as one convulsed in a pool of that blood, the other threw back its head and howled. My body shivered with joy I felt inside of me. This was death, the most final of judgments, and it was right before me. The demons howled, screamed, and roared. The roars faded, and my voice started to change from the voice of a demon back to that of a human. As a demon I roared, and as a human I sneered. Rika was covered in blood from her neck down. Her blood was pouring out, making a little noise. Rika was still staring into my eyes. I stared back at her. I wasn't sure they were still eyes, though. They were no longer human eyes, but the eyes of the dead. Rika? No. Rika's corpse vomited blood from her mouth and nose and smiled. Then she dropped the knife. She stuck her hands out and turned her palms upward. Her wriggling fingers reminded me of an insect's legs. Those fingers reached for her own throat. I'd never seen anything like it. I'd never seen anybody do this before, because Rika was scratching at her own throat. She was just ripping her own throat apart. Maybe that wasn't a good description. She was trying to rip out the inside of her throat through the opening she'd made with the knife. Her fingers found the biggest tear. Rika smiled. At least that's what I would have called it if she were alive. She ripped open the tear in one tug. Welcome, Beanabella. This story's a little violent. Apologies. Upon hearing my scream, Rika died and fell on her face. Into the pool of blood. That was it. She didn't get up again or show me her throat. I stepped back from Rika Furude's body and bumped into the wall in the hallway. I roared again in admiration of the ritual dance of dedication of the head of the Furude family. Joy ran through my body and my blood rushed through my veins. We won, everybody! We won! Okay. I wasn't sure. But welcome. Then I had realized I had disposed of the heads of the three families, the core of the curse of Oyashiro-sama. Everything was finally exposed. The curse of Oyashiro-sama and its masterminds were all exposed. I disposed of the leaders of the three families who all killed Satoshi-kun. The head of the Sonozaki family died of a heart attack. She was at the bottom of the well, along with a wheelchair. I apprehended the head of the Kimiyoshi family. He continued to tiptoe until he died. The head of the Furude family died, in a way that was perfect for the final head of the three families of Onigafuchi. I did it! I accomplished my mission. I defeated all the masterminds who killed Satoshi-kun with the curse. Everyone! Satoshi-kun, you were powerless. You didn't have the means to fight back. Those evil people simply sneered while they let you die after marking you as a member of the cursed Hojo family. I will never ever forgive them. They believed you deserved to die because you were one of the Hojos. As long as it was done by the curse of Oyashiro-sama, they didn't care how you were killed. I will never forgive these people for creating this world. What could I have done to save you, Satoshi-kun? I couldn't save you. Shion Sonozaki couldn't do anything else at the time. If I was Mion, not Shion. If I was Mion that day, I could have saved you. Mion could have saved you. That's right. I remember now. Shion. She said she wanted to eat red snapper sashimi that day. I was supposed to eat that. But Shion pounded and cried. That was why I let her switch. Just for that night. I did it to make her happy. Like a big sister would. Oh, you didn't understand what was happening? Yeah, well, coming into the middle of one of the answer arcs during the visual novel is probably going to be just as confusing. But hey, for your benefit, everything's archived. So if you ever feel the need to go back and revisit an earlier chapter, they're all there. I did it to make her happy, like a big sister would. Shion was never treated well, so I felt bad. That was it. I was being the good sister. That was it. When morning came, the world had been turned upside down, and it had remained so until today. We weren't twins anymore. The one with the demon was Mion, and the one without the demon was Shion. What was that supposed to mean? Wait. Mion, listen. I'm Mion, not her. You can tell us apart, right, Mom? Look, can't you tell I'm Mion? Come on, everyone, come on. Tell me I'm Mion. I'm Mion. Don't call me Shion. I'm Mion. I am.
その時、私ははっきり悟ったよ。あんたは知っていたんだ。あの夜、親類たちが集まって何をするのか、ただの宴会じゃないって知っていたんだ。知らない。本当に知らなかったの。はあ？なわけないでしょ。あんた、あの日だけ嫌にしつこく絡んできたじゃない。タイの刺身なんて食べたことない、食べてみたい、いつもミオンばかりずるい、私にもって。普段ならおとなしく納得するくせに、あの日だけ必要に。知らないの、本当に知らなかったの。あんな恐ろしいことになるなんて思ってたら絶対に言わなかった。はっ、どうだか。あんたはいつも妬んでたじゃない。ミオンばかりいい目にあってずるいって。
Anybody ever look at you with those foxy eyes? Hey Raven, how's it going? Hope you were doing well. You came into the we are -1 Rika. You might want to catch the replay on that one. Some things happened. Needless to say, there was no soy sauce funneling. Unfortunately. There was supposed to be soy sauce. Some people said things they maybe didn't mean. Somebody may have maced someone. Yeah, no.
だから私が気を利かせてたまに入れ替わってあげてたんじゃない。あんたはそれに満足していなかった。より一層妬んでいったんだ。そしてあの夜の意味を自分だけ知り、私から奪ったんだ。
Well, there's our confirmation.
ミオンを奪ったんだ。ミオンを返せ。私がミオンなんだ。私がその先ミオン。お前はシオンなんだよ、シオン。ミオンを語るな、偽物が。
I kicked the bars of the cell repeatedly while I roared. Compared to my roar, the metallic noise of the bars sounded like the cry of a little puppy. I had been convinced by something so stupid. The tattoo of the demon was just a way of telling us apart. Even without the tattoo, I am Neon. That's right. I am Neon Sonozaki. I gathered my hair and put it in a ponytail with the yellow band that Neon used all the time. Since I didn't feel my hair on my neck, I felt like I could think more clearly now. Two Meons looked at each other through the iron bars. According to our sibling rules, that was never to happen. Yes, there was only one Meon and one Shion. There could never be two of either at the same time. They switched when they were kids, and they had done this when there was like a party. And it was like, it wasn't really a party, it was really just to take one of the twins somewhere to get them tattooed. And they were forever switched.
ミオンは私だ。ミオンはここにいる。お前がミオンじゃない。だから語るな、二度と私を語るな。聞いているのか、シオン。聞こえているのか。聞こえているなら返事をしろ。私に返事を届かせろ、シオン。
Hey Cassius, how's it going? Hope you're doing well this evening. I took myself back on this day. I took myself back on this day. Shion admitted she was Shion.
ミオンであることがこんなにも素晴らしいなんて。すごいよ。体全体が言うことを聞く。頭の回転が優れた気がする。そうだよ。ミオンは万能なんだ。ミソカスのシオンとは違う。落ちこぼれのくせに下手なミオンのふりなんかしやがって。それが私にとってどれだけむずがゆかったことか。
Yeah, I do. Considering, like, we have to consider what this girl has had to go through all her life. she's kind of had it really bad. I'm not trying to excuse her actions. I just understand them. And I understand them for a few other reasons as well. I don't think that they're the actions of a good person, mind you. But I think that what's happening makes sense if you're kind of, if you're following the story to this point.
わかるでしょあんたになら。しよう。
はい。おね。
Shion called me sis, and so I was Mion. The demon who had been asleep inside of me was finally allowed to wake up. The demon roared and my whole body shivered to express its joy.
あんたには罪がある。あんたは今までミオンだった。園崎家の鬼を継ぐミオンという強い立場がありながら、サトシ君を救わなかった、救おうとしなかった。サトシ君を救うための100億の瞬間があったはずなのに、あんたはその全てを見殺しにすることを選んだんだ。私は許さない、お前を許さない。お前が私だったらサトシ君を救えていたのに。
Yeah, like, the things that are going on with Shion, especially in this arc, because this arc takes place from her perspective, we understand the kind of shit she's kind of gone through at, like, because this is the answer to the second arc of the anime. And she's very angry that her sister, who holds a lot of prestige, didn't do anything to save her wannabe boyfriend. This is on top of just everything else she's had to endure from being the family outcast.
お前が私を奪いサトシ君を殺したことを私は絶対に許さない。
Shion was shaking on the other side of the
私はお
bars.
前を殺すだろう。絶対に殺す。サトシ君の胸に見合う殺し方をしてやる。お前を一番残酷に殺す方法が何なのか、今日から毎日考えて過ごしてやる。
She's going to think of the biggest, most awful, most tragic way to kill her imaginable.
シオンは私がそれを思いつくまでのわずかな日々をいつ殺されるのかどう殺されるのかに怯えながら過ごすがいい。
It'll be the biggest, most awful, most tragic death in human history.
簡単には殺さない。むごたらしく殺す。殺した後はサトシ君と同じ井戸に放り投げてやる。そしてサトシ君にあの世で謝ってこい。それが私を語り続けてきたことへの報いだ。報い報い。お前の罪。うわ
I needed to at least clean up the kitchen. There was some ketchup everywhere. I'd made a mess. I'd had a ketchup party in the middle of my kitchen. I needed to at least clean up the kitchen. While I was putting old newspapers on the floor to absorb the blood, the phone rang. Mixed ketchup with the soy sauce. Don't you hate it when that happens? I didn't want to answer, but maybe I should. I should answer it and talk to whoever it was.
はい、園崎です。
Who's on the phone, chat? Who's calling us at this hour? What the fuck? Who has the audacity to be calling us this late?
いつもお世話になってるでございます。北条と申します。
Hi! Hi! I was surprised to hear the Hojo name, but I realized right away that it was Satoko.
サトコ、どうしたの？
夜分遅くに申し訳ありませんわね。うちのリカがお邪魔してませんこと？
Define Rika being here. Ah, yes. Ever since Satoko Hojo was abandoned, she had been living with Rika Furude. Of course, she'd get suspicious that Rika hadn't returned
あ、来
yet.
てるよ。
あら、まだお邪魔してますの？もう夕飯の時間ですのに。
Yeah, she's actually really here, physically. Her presence is very much here.
ねえサトコ、実はね、今日さ、ちょいとおかずを作りすぎちゃってね。リカちゃんにも夕食を振る舞ってるんだよ。
そうなんでございますの？
さとこも来なよ。さとこの分もあるからさ。リカちゃんはもう食べてるよ。
もうリカったら。わかりましたわ。ちょっと片付けをしてから参りますわね。ではごめんあそばせ。
うん、待ってるからね。じゃ。
What do you mean this is bad? She very clearly said that she's got food ready and they're going to eat together. This is going to be a very fine evening that we're going to share together. Click. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It'll be okay. Guys, it's just, we got soy sauce, we got dinner. It'll be okay, I promise. When have I ever lied to you? When have I ever led you astray? I've never led my chat astray.
Keiichi, さっきから呼んでるぞ。電話だ。園崎さんから。
園崎さんってどっち？姉？妹？
そんなのは知らん。自分で出て聞きなさい。
もしもし、ミオンかシオンか。
私です。シオンです。こんばんは。
シオン、ゆうべはすまなかった。つい興奮して。
He must have been worried about how I hung up the phone so suddenly
私
last
たち
night.
は運命共同体なんです。互いの無事の確認が自分たちの安全の唯一の保証なんです。
ああ、それについては同感だ。
だから私たちは互いの知っている情報を共有する必要があります。高野さんたちみたいな死に方をしないために。
Yo. Who's old enough to have had a phone like this? Who's old enough to have had a rotary phone in chat? Let's be honest. I had a rotary phone growing up. I heard Keiichi swallow loudly.
昨日の続きを話します。もう怒らないで聞いてくれますよね。
ああ、大丈夫だ。
Keiichi agreed to be quiet and listen. I explained the dangerous situation to Keiichi once again. Just like how some evil people in the village attacked Takano-san and Tomitaki-san, they might attack us any day. It was ironic, of course, that while I was warning him, I was also the one who made sure the curse would fall upon
互い
him.
に何か気になることがあったら報告し合いましょう。互いの持つ小さな断片を合わせていけば、ひょっとすると高野さんたちを殺した、いえ、今年の事件に限らない。
I think there's just something real satisfying about the rotary phone, if I'm being honest here. I think that it's real good. My ear, nose, and throat doctor, he has like toys that kids can play with in his waiting room, right? But one of them is just an old rotary phone, like not a toy, but an actual rotary phone. And every time I go there, I dial it because I'm a dork.
過去の連続事件を解決する鍵が見つかるかもしれません。
そうだな。確かにそうだ。
では、まずは言い出した私からいきます。最近、誰かに監視されているような気がします。
I was making this up. I just wanted him to realize how urgent the
と言って
situation
も
was.
気のせいかもしれません。でも一応報告します。今は気のせいだと思っていますけど、もしもケイちゃんも同じように誰かに監視されているように感じるなら。
Here, Keiichi, let me stoke some paranoia for you. Let me get that fire nice and grilled up. Oh yeah, we had one of those too.
これは気のせいじゃないのかもしれませんから。
そういうことなら安心しろ。少なくとも俺の方は大丈夫だ。
It seemed like nothing had happened to Keiichi today, at least. Now that the heads of all three families were gone, it was possible the curse system had been destroyed entirely. If that was the case, then Keiichi might not be attacked after all. But if there was someone who did want to attack him, that meant part of the system was still alive. In other words, my mission wouldn't be accomplished just yet. Keiichi is like a litmus test in this situation. I'd know whether or not all my enemies were gone, depending on if Keiichi got bitten. He sure is a very useful man. After that, I went along with what Keiichi said. I made sure he was fearful of Mion as well as all of the three families. I explained to him the possibility that the whole village was involved and that the curse of Oyashiro-sama might be some sort of system. Then I remembered Shion wouldn't know too much of the disappearance of the mayor, so I
私
continued.
もついさっき聞いたんですが、君吉のおじいちゃんが行方不明になったって本当ですか？
村長さんのことか。なんだシオン、聞いてないのか？
何も知らないです。お父さんが電話でそう話してるのをまた盗み聞いただけですから。
ああ、実はな、昨べ会合の後、家に帰ってこないとかでひなみ沢中で大騒ぎになったんだ。村中で探したみたいだけど、まだ見つかったって話は聞かないな。警察も探してるはずなんだけど。
なんでそんな大事な話を先にしてくれなかったんですか？
悪い、もう知ってると思ってたんだよ。隠す気なんかなかった。
ケイちゃん、私どうしよ
う。どうした？話せよ。俺たちの間で隠し事はなしだろ。
ごめん。隠すつもりはなかったんです。ちょっと言うのが前後したっていうか。
俺たちは仲間だろ。怒ったりしないから正直に話せよ。
私、君吉のおじいちゃんに打ち明けたんです。
Well, she's not lying.
君吉のじいさんってのはシオンにとって相談できる心安い人なんだろう。
はい、私のこと小さい頃から本当に可愛がってくれて、私いつも意地悪なことをしてたのに、いつもニコニコと笑って、私の言うことは何でも聞いてくれて、本当に優しい人だったのに。
落ち着けよシオン。別に死んでしまったわけじゃないだろう。そんな簡単に諦めるなよ。
Keiichi tried to make me feel better, but he had no idea what was actually going on. It really made me
村長
laugh.
さんに、私あの晩西宮殿に忍び込んだこと、誰かにそれを見られてて、私たちを狙っている人がいるって。
村長さんは高野さんたちがまともじゃない死に方をしたのを知ってるのか？
はい、知っていました。あの二人がお社様のたたりで死んだから、私はその怒りを鎮める生贄にされるんじゃないかって本当に率直に言いました。
ああ、それで
君吉のおじいちゃん怒らなかった。そしてにっこり笑って、しおんちゃんがちゃんと反省してるなら鬼隠しになんかなるものかって、本当に笑いながら任せなさいって。
Get this girl an Oscar! I actually got a little sad saying that. Uncle Kimiyoshi had been so reliable. I was happy when he said that he would protect Shion. I was truly happy. If only he hadn't said anything to insult Satoshi-kun.
私のせいです。私が打ち明けてしまったから。
よせよシオン。シオンのせいじゃないよ。
いいえ、私のせいなんです。私が打ち明けてしまったから。君吉のおじいちゃんが知ってしまったから。だから殺されてしまったに違いないんです。だって打ち明けてすぐなんですよ。打ち明けて大丈夫って言ってくれたその晩に消えてしまった。
It was such a strange feeling. I wasn't upset at all, but as I pretended to be upset and mutter words of prayer for Kimiyoshi's safety, I started to feel that emotion growing inside me. I was only pretending to be distressed to fool Keiichi, yet the emotion I feigned began welling up inside me. It felt like I was being consumed by that emotion. So the words coming from my mouth weren't words I intentionally said. They were words that consuming emotion forced me to say. It was like someone else inside of me was doing the talking instead, and I was just watching as someone talked from a short distance away.
これは全部私たち4人の咎だったはず。他人に話してはいけないことだったんです。話したから殺されてしまった。知ったから殺されてしまった。
Yeah, like she's literally just giving herself the biggest pat on the back right now for her acting.
打ち明けたから殺されてしまった。
おい待てよ。そんなやつなら打ち明けた村長を殺す前にお前から先に殺すに決まってるじゃないか。順番が違うよ。殺されるなら俺かシオンが先。
You watching this shit, Hollywood?
他のやつらが先に死んだりするものか。
順番はあります。私たちを一番最後に殺すつもりに違いないんです。
は？なんだって？
人思いに殺さないで親しい人たちから順々に殺していって散々悲しい思いをさせた後に殺す、そういう狙いに違いないんです。
What I said scared even me. Killing our loved ones first to harm us emotionally, and only then kill us at the height of our suffering. I felt something crawling up my spine. That's awesome. It's an awesome idea. I must not be human anymore. I really am a demon. A human could never think of such cruel things. That would be one incredible hell. Your close friends dying one at a time after being tortured, and then after all that, you yourself get killed. What a great way to destroy someone's life! What was I getting so excited about this? Because I could get going with that plan right away! Oh boy! Oh boy!
リカちゃん！リカちゃんだ！
え？今、なんて言ったんですか？
俺も実は打ち明けたんだ。リカちゃんに今日。リカちゃんって。
I can think of a couple other visual novels that deal in that type of despair, perhaps.
フルデ神社のリカちゃん。
そうだよ、リカちゃんだよ。俺もどうしようもなく不安で打ち明けたんだ。リカちゃんに。
そうしたらリカちゃまはなんて。
猫さんも心配しすぎなので僕がきっと何とかしてあげますですよ。リカちゃんはそう言って。ごめんしよう。俺ちょっとリカちゃんのことが心配になっちゃって。
Yeah, like, she got so lucky. She rolled all sixes on her bullshit roll.
はい、そんなに心配でしたらぜひ電話を。安否を確認してみてください。
This girl is a natural 20 in bullshittery.
ああ、そうさせてもらう。
また明日もこのくらいの時間に連絡します。それをもって私の安否確認としてください。
分かった、待ってる。じゃあな、すまん。切るぞ。
Keiichi hung up roughly. What a hilarious conversation with Keiichi! What a hilarious, humorous guy! Everything was just too damn funny. Keiichi Maibara, go ahead and struggle helplessly, run all over the village and see if the curse is still alive. Go ahead and see if my enemies are still around. I laughed for a while, then calmed down. I already got rid of the bicycles and shoes belonging to Rika and Sakoko. My house was, for the moment, taken care of. I could expect Keiichi to run around in a panic and ask for help from someone and ultimately come to Neon. More than likely, the youth group would end up looking for Rika like they did with the mayor. I'd probably have to endure another long night again, knowing nobody would find her. I decided to wait until the phone rang. I killed time by watching TV until it did.
Keiちゃん、本気で言ってんの？もし冗談だったらかなり怒るよ。
I scolded Keiichi for suspecting that Rika had disappeared.
みーちゃん、本当に冗談だったなら怒るんじゃなく笑おうよ。だって冗談なんだから。私たちはそれが冗談であることを確かめなくちゃいけない。
そうだね。機嫌の悪そうなことを言ってごめん。
Rena rebuked me. While she looked quiet, I felt that she could be very terrifying under her skin. I had no basis for that impression, but I still felt that way. I just didn't like her. I had disliked her ever since that rainy day at the bus stop. It wasn't that we didn't get along, though. How should I put it? I was at a loss for how to explain. That was it. I found a good example. When I was little, I always wanted to play tennis. I had my relatives take me to the tennis court, and they all praised my skill. I was doing nothing more than hitting a ball with a racket. But they told me I was talented, and that made me happy. When I went to school, I told my classmates I played tennis, and they told me that I was talented too. Then, one of my classmates, who was usually very quiet, she also played tennis. Not only did she play, she took lessons. Although I bragged about my serve, I was no match for her. I felt lonely and insulted that everyone was paying attention to her and not me. She was usually very quiet. But suddenly I realized that she knew more and had a lot more experience than me. Rena at the bus stop was just like that. I thought of myself as a demon now. I had awakened to a part of me that was half human and half demon, the part that lived in the Onigafuchi village. In fact, I'd already stepped into a world where normal humans couldn't go. I'd already surpassed my human limits. I genuinely thought of myself as a superior being, having transcended the realm of mortals. But when my eyes met with Rena Ryugu's, I felt what I did long ago with tennis. Why? Why did I feel that way with Rena? I'd heard that in the animal world, during battle, animals glare at each other to display their strength. Only humans have to punch or kick each other to feel superiority or inferiority. Most animals can tell just by glaring at each other. In that case, could it be the same with Rena?
みーちゃん大丈夫？
ごめん。ほらさ、昨日から寝不足で。ごめん。
Keiichi climbed up a ladder and tried to peek into the window of the second floor where Rika and Satoko lived. It was my job to hold down the ladder. Rena cautioned me to hold it tightly.
みーちゃん、私念のため本宅の方も見てくるね。
Rena's probably got a pretty good serve on her, I would bet.
すぐ戻るから。
ごめん。よろしく。
Rena ran off after that. When I looked up, I saw Keiichi trying to open the window, but all of them were
本
locked.
宅ってなんだ？
Keiichi asked me from the top of the
フル
ladder.
デ家の本当の家だよ。両親が亡くなって以来、ずっと放置してあるそうだけど。
あ、そうか。リカちゃんのご両親って亡くなってるんだよな。
聡子も親はいないよ。お社様のたたりってことで、両親が崖から落っこちてね。お兄さんだったサトシ君もいなくなっちゃって。
サトシって前に聞いた名前だな。
He'd heard that name before. I felt anger growing inside of me. Don't you know whose desk you're using every day? You act as if it belongs to you. You drop food on it while eating lunch. You drool on it while taking a nap. Don't you know who it really belongs to? Why am I acting this way? I'm Neon. Satoshi-kun doesn't even exist anymore. He was demoned away. It's hardly Keiichi's fault that he didn't know. It really isn't his fault.
サトコはリカちゃんと一緒にこの小屋で暮らしてるんだよ。互いに身寄りのない一人ぼっち同士。
The snow globe is a pretty good, it's a pretty good way of describing this whole dynamic right now, I think.
助け合ってね。
本宅って言ったか。そっちで暮らした方が楽だろうに。
初めはそうしてたみたい。でも両親を思い出すから辛いって言って。
After everyone in Satoko's family died, she started living with Rika. It only made sense. Satoko and Rika were best friends. They didn't care about the Hojo family or the Furude family. They had been best friends since before the dam conflict. The reason why the curse never fell upon Satoko, Rika Furude probably had a lot to do with it. That made sense more. That made sense. That made more sense than thinking about it. Yeah, okay. Words are on the screen, and I can't read them. Satoko was pardoned from the curse of the Hojo family, all thanks to Rika Furude's arrangements. Satoko had never been a victim of the Night of Watanagashi. According to the curse system I'd uncovered, the last survivor of the Hojo family still living in Hinamizawa would be the perfect target for this year's curse. Therefore, whoever was responsible for executing the curse must have tried to take her life. However, nothing happened to her, proving that Satoko had escaped the curse. That was really and truly infuriating. She might have been the head of the Furude family, but I still couldn't accept that such a little girl had enough power to protect her best friend. Actually Shion. Shion must have had the same power then. Just like Rika protected Satoko, Shion must have protected Satoshi. Damn it. Shion could have protected Satoshi. Damn it, damn it.
リカちゃんもサトコも大変なんだな。
呪われてるんだよ。
ミオン、お前今なんて言った？
呪われてるって言ったの。
ミオン、お前なんて顔してんだよ。
北条聡子はね、お社様のたたりを一身に受けた呪われた子なの。
I can't accept that Satoko was pardoned from the curse, although she was a member of the cursed Hojo family. She was one of the cursed Hojos. Satoshi-kun wasn't pardoned, but Satoko was. She was cursed, but she got away. She escaped the curse, but Satoshi-kun didn't. I can't accept that. In fact, Satoko should have been the one to be cursed the most. She cornered Satoshi-kun physically and emotionally. That was why things got weirder and weirder, and in the end, everything went crazy. When I think back on it, it was Satoko who I hated most of all. She cornered Satoshi-kun. And as a result, Satoshi-kun disappeared. She started it. She caused it. It was if only she hadn't been there. Just as Rika Furude and Satoko had lived happily, maybe there had been a happy future for me too. Maybe Satoshi-kun and I could have started our lives together in Okinomiya. Yes, if I look at both the beginning and the end, it's so obvious. Satoko's existence caused everything. Satoshi-kun had to kill his aunt because of Satoko, the three families used that need to create a curse, and they killed him. The police were convinced he had ran away, but he'd never do that. He was the type of person who always did his best at everything, all by himself. He was doing the very best he could for his only sister, yet he was forced to vanish. He worked so hard for Satoko, and though he was living just for her, he was erased. Poor Satoshi-kun. He was so underappreciated. That girl knew no gratitude. She was cursed. If you got near her, you'd meet the same fate. You'd be cursed to die, to disappear. And really, that really was it. She was the main cause behind it all. She wormed her way into Rika Furude's good graces, and that was why the curse fell upon Satoshi-kun. She could have died first. Then Satoshi-kun would still be alive. If he was alive, I could have done something for him. I can't forgive her. I can't forgive Satoko. I can't forgive that girl. There can be no peace with her. There can be no peace. She was the perfect target for the curse of 1983. The curse of Oyashiro-sama. Rika Furude, the reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama. Rika was dead. The reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama had died. There was no more god in Hinamizawa to deliver the curse. I'm the one who has to deliver it now. I am the Sonozaki, the head of the Sonozaki family, one of the three families of Onigafuchi. Now that all the heads of the three families are gone, there is nobody to surpass me. I will deliver the curse of Oyashiro-sama and nobody else. I'll deliver it. I am the curse. I have become Oyashiro-sama. I felt hot bubbles boiling over deep inside of me. I could tell the demon inside of me wanted to roar. I noticed Keiichi was looking down at me. Calm down, Neon. He can't tell what you're thinking. Calm down, calm down. At that point, I heard footsteps coming closer. I saw 4 or 5 adults accompanied by Rena running toward us with flashlights in their hands. One of them opened the lock of the cabin door. We all went inside. Of course, there was nobody there. Satoko and Rika lived alone. I doubted Satoko would have left a note saying she was going over to the Sonozaki house, but Rika was there already. But it wouldn't be fun if she had. Because of that, I hurried into the room ahead of Rena to make sure there was nothing left behind. The rumor of Rika and Satoko's disappearance spread through the village quickly. More and more villagers gathered at the Furude shrine. Acting in place of the head of the Sonozaki family, I commanded them to search the village. The villagers nodded and scattered. How long had it been since the last time I was truly Mion? I felt so pleased that my body almost went numb. Lots of villagers went in and out of the shrine. They yelled at each other that she was nowhere to be found. Some suggested other places to look, and they all left. They made a lot of noise with their comings and goings. Members of the Women's Association brought out huge pots and gas cookers for the storage and got ready to cook for the men. That was when I noticed Keiichi unsteadily walking toward a copse in the dark pine trees. What was he thinking? How stupid of him to go alone into the night like this. If a person responsible for executing the curse was nearby, he wouldn't come back safely.
ミオンちゃん、お茶が池の方もぐるっと探したけど全然ダメだね。
How's it going, Daisushi? Welcome. Welcome. Hope you're enjoying.
池の中も照らしたけど明るくなんないとわかんないよ。
うん、ありがとうございます。婦人部の皆さんがお味噌汁を作ってくれてますので、召し上がって休んでください。
ミオンちゃん、あの二人って自転車どこに止めてたんか知ってるかい？
さあ、多分境内の階段の下じゃないかな。まさかあの階段を担いで上がったりはしないでしょう。
ないんだよね、二人の自転車がさ。どこかに行っちゃったんだろうかね。
Yeah, Rika vs. Shion was a battle for the ages.
自転車で遊びに行ったならそうかもしれんな。マジか。
だとするとひなみ沢の中にはいないんかもしれんな。
そういえばリカちゃまがいなくなったってのは誰が最初に気づいたんだ？
ん？ああ、ケイちゃんだけど急に虫が知らせたんだとか。
前原屋敷のせがれさんか。なんや怪しいな。
そういえば前原家は来てないのか、この一大事の時に。
前原家は町会未加入だから青年団の連絡網に入ってないんよ。
なあ、すったらんしょうがな。
俺入ったろ町会。ああ、あれさね、連絡網に名前が載ってないだけんと違う。連絡網新年に作ったきりやんね。途中から越してきたから載ってない。
Oh dang. Stay safe after 5. Don't let Revan take your power like that.
前原のせがれさんの虫の知らせってのがどうもな。
第一発見者が一等怪しい言うやんね。そのせがれはどこ行ったんかいね。
さっき松林の方にふらふら行くのを見たよ。誰か呼んでくる？
Conveniently, I saw Keiichi and Renan walking
ケイ
towards
ちゃん、
us.
どこ行ってたんだよ。ケイちゃんまでいなくなったのかと心配したよ。
すまん。
It looked like nothing had happened to Keiichi. If so, that's fine. That means I took care of all of my enemies. Oh, hey! Hey there! How's it going? Our buddy's back. How's it going? Domo, domo to you.
美味しい匂いが漂ってくると思ったら、これはぜひご評判に預かりたいですね。
I heard the loud, sticky voice of a middle-aged man. It was Oishi. He must have been confused about this year's incident. The scale of the curse this time is nothing like the previous ones. Oishi's information network is about equal to or better than that of the elders of the town council. In other words, he could easily uncover a rumor that was circulating through the underside of the village. He must have came here to see if the disappearance of Kimiyoshi and Rika had something to do with the changing of the lock on the ritual storehouse's door. The police will come for me sooner or later. I am Mion Sonozaki. By removing all the heads of the three families, my enemies, I have become the head in their place. Why is he sniffing Keiichi? Why not? I mean, Oishi is a man who, we don't ask how he does his work, we just know that it is exemplary work, and he gets the job done. I can't allow me and Sonozaki to continue existing. I'll have to destroy the existence of the head of the Sonozaki family. When I destroy my own position, that is when my revenge will come to an end. More than likely, I'll have Oishi witness my final moments. My eyes and Oishi's met. Damn it. He thinks I'm suspicious already. You're right, Oishi. I did it. Mion Sonozaki, the head of the Sonozaki family, is the culprit. Spoilers! I'm gonna have to get a big fat timeout for Mion Sonozaki in chat. She's up here spoiling things for us. Jesus. We got notebook page 195 and 196. Alright, what do we got? What do we got? Rika Furude. She was the head of the Furude family, but she never even appeared at most of the family meetings. Even if she did show up, nobody would ask for her opinion, so it never really mattered if she was there or not. A legend of the Furude family says that their firstborn child was a girl for 8 generations in a row, then the 8th girl would be the reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama. According to Takano-san's research, Rika Furude is very likely to be the one. Surely she must be an important icon in the cult of Oyashiro-sama. The true believers are devoted to her. So it's quite surprising to me that Rika Furude herself was the assassin. It's unbelievable. It's just too abnormal. Usually a VIP like her wouldn't be the one to assassinate someone. It's possible that it was a Rika Furude look-alike. From the way she moved, she'd seemed very experienced in fighting. It's not normal that a small girl like her would jump me without faltering. I just got lucky because I had a stun gun. Without it, I don't know what would have happened. She was far more skilled than she looked. Was she trained as an assassin? Or was it a body double? Everything is a mystery, including that creepy syringe. What's going on? I don't understand. She was like an apparition or something. Did Oryo Sonozaki know of her existence? What is hiding on the underside of this village? That underside... I skipped the last line because I'm an idiot. But that underside, it's mysterious and creepy, I'm sure. That was a line. Fika Rurude! At this point, I believe that I can complete my revenge by destroying the curse system entirely. That means that I have to eliminate the heads of all 3 families. The successor, Shion, and the assassins who were after Keiichi. Although Keiichi is completely unguarded, he hasn't been attacked so far, even though I told everybody that he was one of the trespassers. In fact, it's me who's being attacked. Rika Furude attacked me. According to my theory, Keiichi should make for very attractive bait, but nobody has done anything to harm him. Since Rika Furude attacked me, it might have been that opposing the Furude family is a greater taboo than trespassing in the ritual storehouse. Rika Furude had said the intrusion wasn't a big deal. She sounded like she was going to let Keiichi walk. And after I accused her of that, Rika Furude attacked me that very night. Are there 2 different factions? Does one handle trespassers in the ritual storehouse while the other protects the religious doctrines of the Furude family? No, that doesn't make sense. Tomitake-san's death must have been caused by the Furude family's injections. Rika showed me the effect of it herself, clawing out her own throat and dying like that. But Tomitake-san didn't. Yes, words. Let's try that again. But Tomitake-san shouldn't have been subject to the curse, at least according to the system of the Furude family. I don't understand why Keiichi hasn't been attacked. Did he have something exempting him from the curse, unlike Takano-san? Just like how only Satoko Hojo was spared? Keiichi is a friend of Rika Furude's, so does that mean that if you were close to her, you wouldn't be cursed? Was she more important than the whole system? That's impossible. The hag was at the top of the curse system. Rika couldn't have been higher up than her. Scribble, scribble. Are there multiple ways to determine the subject of the curse? Are there many curse execution groups as there are subjects, and do they all work separately? Ah, it's a mess. None of my theories add up. If I mess with my reasoning, I might make the wrong person the target of my revenge. I don't understand who the enemy is or how Satoshi-kun was made to disappear. How much did the hag know? It really was a huge loss. I have so many things I wanted to ask her. I killed her by accident. Shit. In that respect, I've already failed in my revenge. The underside of Hinamizawa really does run too deep. Scribble, scribble. The whole page is blacked out with scribbles. And that is where we're going to call it tonight.